Hello everyone, this is Waterfall Joe and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be discussing, in my opinion, one of the best wide-angle lenses for micro four thirds. This is the Panasonic 9mm f1.7 and it is tiny, sharp, and pretty much compact enough to take with you anywhere for any sort of situation. In today's video we're going to be talking about specs, features, what's the competition. I'm going to show you some of my favorite images that I've shot with this lens, and then we're going to actually go out and shoot at my local waterfall and just see how it does. Let's dive in. Before we get into the lens, I just want to give a big thank you to all of you, as I have just crossed the 2,000 subscriber mark. I started my YouTube channel about 2 years ago in August of 2023. It was just an idea, it was just for fun. It still is just for fun, but I never thought I'd get to having 2,000 subscribers. I just enjoy making these videos, I enjoy talking about this stuff, and I enjoy interacting with everyone and educating from the things that I know and the things that I love to do. So thank you all so much for 2,000 subs. I really do appreciate every single one of you. I'm going to continue improving my quality. I'm just going to continue putting out content that I enjoy making, and I hope that you guys enjoy as well. So without further ado, let's get into the video, but once again, thank you so much for 2,000 subscribers. So let's talk Panasonic 9mm. So this lens is really cool. So this lens launched in winter of 2022 for about $500 US. Now, unfortunately, with the current tariff situation, these are going for about $550 now. This lens is a 9mm f1.7 in micro four thirds, which would make it an 18mm in full frame equivalent. It's only about 2 inches long, which is incredibly compact for traveling, and it comes in at about 130 grams. It does utilize 55mm filters, which is really nice and convenient. This lens is a plastic barrel, but it does have a metal mount. And my favorite feature is this lens is weather sealed. So it's perfect for waterfalls and landscapes and travel photography, which is one of the reasons I got it, which we're going to get to in a minute. But yeah, this little lens right here is weather sealed. It's an incredibly sharp lens. It is manufactured by Panasonic, but it does have that Leica stamp of certification on it. You know that it's up to the Leica specifications. This is an f1.7 aperture, so it's great for any sort of low light photography that you might be doing. I actually use it for a little bit of low light as well as landscapes, so I've shot it at f1.7, I've shot it at f8. It's great across the board. So let's talk about what other options are there in this space. There's a lot of wide-angle lenses for micro four thirds, but we're going to talk about this one in particular and what the other options are. So, of course, you have the Panasonic 9mm f1.7. You also have the omsystem 8mm f1.8 fisheye. And I was so close to buying that lens, but my biggest gripe with it is it does have in-camera correction for the fisheye, but when you use that, it's no longer a RAW file. So if you're doing any sort of astrophotography, you don't have the flexibility of a RAW file if you apply your in-camera fisheye correction. And for me, that just wasn't really worth it. I don't really do a lot of fisheye. It's not really my thing. This lens is rectilinear, which means that it keeps your lines straight. It doesn't distort the edges like a fisheye would. And that's just way more in line with what I personally like to do. But yes, there is the Panasonic 9mm 1.7, the omsystem 8mm f1.8 fisheye. You also have the Laowa 6mm and the Laowa 10mm f2. Those are incredibly nice lenses, both manual focus only. Now, if you're someone who doesn't really care if it's manual focus or not, then those are excellent choices. I actually made a video a few months back where I was shooting around with them at a waterfall, and I'll link that up above. Now, in terms of wide-angle zooms for micro four thirds, you have a few options. None of them are this compact. You have the omsystem 7-14 f2.8, which is often ranked one of the best wide-angle lenses for micro four thirds. You have the omsystem 8-25 f4. You have the Panasonic 7-14 f4, the Panasonic 8-18 f2.8 to 4. So there's a lot of choices, and if you're looking for a zoom, you have a fair amount of choices. But if you're looking for a compact prime, not too many choices in this space, and I really do think that the 9mm Panasonic is probably the best wide-angle compact prime for micro four thirds. So let's talk about why did I pick this lens. So what was I drawn to about this lens? So when I first got into micro four thirds, my first thing I wanted to do was find a nice wide-angle lens. I love to do waterfalls, I love wide-angle, and I really needed that wide-angle in my fleet. So I started researching options. Of course, I looked at the 7-14 and the 8-25 f4 from OM. And actually, I was this close to buying the 8-25 f4, and that's when I discovered this lens here. And I quickly realized that this really does cover everything that I needed to cover. I am a huge fan of astrophotography. I have made a few videos about astrophotography, and in my last astrophotography video, I actually talked a lot about the 9mm 1.7, as it is my go-to lens of choice for Milky Way and star trails and everything when I put it on my OM1 Mark II. So I picked this lens over any of the other choices in terms of wide angles because it is both extremely compact. Here it is on my OM1 Mark II, really not that bad at all. It's fully weather sealed, which is going to work excellent with my OM1 Mark II, as this camera is built like a tank and I take it out in the grossest of weather. Therefore, I don't really have to worry about, is my Panasonic lens going to get messed up? I know the lens can handle it. Because it's Panasonic and OM, they do have that agreement with Micro Four Thirds mount, so it is fully compatible with the OM1 Mark II. And if you're doing astrophotography with it, it even works with the omsystem Starry Sky autofocus, which is awesome. I didn't even know that when I first tried it. So for me, the combination of the compact size, the weather sealing, the fact that it takes standard 55mm filters, it has the f1.7 aperture for the occasional times I like to do astrophotography, it's weather sealed. This lens really is the perfect wide angle for me personally. If I had any complaints at all, it would be I wish it was like 1 or 2 millimeters wider. You know, if I can get down to like a 15, 16 millimeter full frame equivalent, that would be great. However, 18 millimeters is perfectly fine as well. I feel like the Panasonic 9mm f1.7 kind of embraces what Micro Four Thirds is all about. This is an extremely high quality lens, excellent build quality, excellent glass, and it's compact. I really think that's really what we buy into Micro Four Thirds for. We want compact, we want travel friendly, we want the weather sealing, we want that really well made glass from Panasonic, and we want the compatibility across the board with OM and Panasonic. This lens really makes me feel like this is what Micro Four Thirds is all about. There's not a lot of lenses like this in any other format. You have a few small wide angle primes from Sony and Canon in their full frame mounts, but nothing like this and nothing that's built to this quality for this price point. I'll even go out on a limb and say, I think for the size and the millimeter of this lens, I don't know if there's a better lens from another format. In terms of that compact wide angle prime that has that low aperture for about $500, I really don't think you're gonna get a better option from any other manufacturer for any other format. This lens really is unique, and I think it's one of Micro Four Thirds' most enjoyable lenses. How does this lens do for waterfalls and landscapes? That is my primary use case for this. That's what I do 90% of the time with this lens, and I do a little bit of astro here and there. But this is my go-to waterfall landscape lens, and it is beautiful. As I've mentioned before, I absolutely love the compact nature of this lens, and I feel like I could take my OM1 Mark II with the 9mm out to any waterfall in any situation. I won't get fatigued from the weight because there really isn't much weight at all. I could shoot with this all day, no problem. You know, for waterfalls, I love to use a circular polarizer, so I put my circular polarizer on the front, and I'll use my live ND in camera, and I'm ready to go out and shoot waterfalls. This lens is so compact, it is fully weather sealed, so I'm not really worried about if it's raining or anything. I know the camera and the lens can handle it. I find this lens to be absolutely tack sharp. I don't really stop down to f16 that often, but I have done a few Sunstars with it, and it's pretty good. I do notice if you do a Sunstar at a specific angle, you get like this weird purple fringing that I end up having to Photoshop out sometimes. For most of my landscapes, I'll find myself anywhere from f5.6 to f8. I find that to be the sweet spot for this lens. I never shoot wide open unless I'm doing astrophotography or ultra super low light, walk around New York City type of stuff. But even then, I always like to stop down just a little bit, just to sharpen up the corners a bit. I do find that at f5.6, at f8, the corner sharpness is great. The lens is sharp across the board. Okay, so something I really want to do for you guys is I want to showcase some of my favorite images that I've taken with the Panasonic 9mm f1.7. So I've only had this lens for about 5 months, but I try my best to go out shooting with it as much as I possibly can. So I'm just going to have some nice peaceful music playing, and I'm just going to have a little slideshow of some of my favorite images playing, you know, for the next minute or something, just for you guys to see some sample photos that I've personally shot with this lens. So without further ado, let's dive in. I hope you enjoy these next few photos. See you in a minute. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the photos. I think that's enough talking here in the office. I'd say let's take this lens, let's take my OM1 Mark II, and let's go find a waterfall to shoot and see how this thing does. I'm gonna go out, find a waterfall. I'll see you guys there. Hello everyone, welcome to Wadsworth Falls. If you've seen any of my videos before, you'll know that I absolutely love Wadsworth Falls. This is my local waterfall, only about 30 minutes from home. And I love coming here pretty much all the time, whether I'm reviewing a lens or just wanting to shoot a waterfall for the day. And today we have the Panasonic 9mm f1.7 for Micro Four Thirds. It's a beautiful day out here. It's a bit sunny, which if you know me, you know I don't like to shoot when it's sunny, but we're gonna make the best of it. We're gonna be putting the Panasonic 9mm on my OM1 Mark II. We're gonna be doing some handheld long exposure waterfalls using the omsystem Live ND, which I absolutely love. And my favorite thing about it is this lens is fully compatible with the OM1. No issues whatsoever, just because they're two different brands, two different companies. So let's go ahead and mount this up on the OM1 and start doing some waterfall photography. Ready to go. Okay, so we're out here at Wadsworth Falls with my OM1 Mark II and the Panasonic 9mm. We are going to turn on Live ND. You can see up in the corner we have Live ND on. We're going to spin our polarizer, make sure everything's polarized, and we're going to do about 1/3 of a second here. Yeah, this lens is so convenient, you know, the size of it, the compact nature of it makes it so easy just to handheld waterfalls with it, no issues. I usually like to do somewhere around 1 second for my waterfalls. You know, this is an excellent place. The sun's out, it's kind of messing up the long exposure a little bit. Let's just do some vertical shooting here. You know, I absolutely love having a nice compact prime. It really allows you to focus in on your composition and less zooming in, zooming out, and just kind of shooting with what you got. We'll do some normal photography too, and not everything has to be a long exposure. But I absolutely love incorporating like this greenery over here. It allows you to, you know, get a little bit more depth to the image. So there's something I want to talk about with this lens, and that's the fact that this is an incredibly well-made lens. It's a very unique lens. It really doesn't exist from anyone else. But lately it seems that Panasonic has no interest in Micro Four Thirds anymore. And this irks me, and I know it irks a lot of you as well. How do they come out with such an amazing lens like this and then kind of give up? You know, for the past few years, it's been kind of all quiet on the Panasonic front, except for a few minor updates, but there hasn't really been any massive lens that has come out recently, and it's just kind of a shame that they're so focused on full frame. You know, kind of the whole purpose of my channel is to showcase that you don't need full frame to get incredible images, and actually Micro Four Thirds is a better format for traveling, especially like the omsystem cameras that have so many computational features. It's a true shame that Panasonic is so focused on their full frames that they won't put more love into this system, because you're not going to get a 9mm f1.7 for full frame at this price point, this size, and this quality for 500 bucks. It's just not going to happen. So I really wish that they would invest more into their Micro Four Thirds setup. They have such a good system of lenses, of cameras, and it would just be a shame if they would just abandon that. You know, omsystem is doing so much to keep this system going. It would just be amazing if Panasonic would contribute a little bit more, especially with releases like this lens. They obviously have it figured out. They know what they're doing. If they would just put some more manpower into this system, who knows what they could come up with. A new GM5, another wide angle like this, the next big video camera beyond the GH7, you know. Panasonic, we all want you to come back to Micro Four Thirds and give it some more love. Not everyone wants full frame, you know. So that's my rant. Let's get back to the waterfall. If you've seen any of my past videos, you've probably seen me stand in this exact spot, most notably with the omsystem OM5 when I was first considering the system. You really can't stand here during the high flow during like the spring because there's so much water. But because it's dry, kind of dry here in the summer, this part is completely dry. Give it a few weeks, give it some rain, this spot would be inaccessible. But right now, this is kind of one of the best things about having a wide angle is I'm able to get up close and personal, get these up close shots, and you can kind of capture the grand scale of the waterfall because of that wide angle shot. Another one of my favorite features about having a nice compact prime lens is it allows you to kind of capture all of your surroundings. Here at the waterfall we have these beautiful green leaves, we have the reflection of the waterfall in the river down here, and with the Panasonic 9mm 1.7 we can kind of capture this entire scene kind of right here where I'm standing. I'm going to show you how this 9mm looks all the way back here. As I showed earlier, it's really good for like up close photos and everything, but it's also good for just capturing the entire scene. Now, one of the coolest features of the 9mm 1.7 is it has an extremely close minimum focusing distance of only 3.7 inches. Now that allows you to get some crazy up close photos. It's not a true macro lens by any means, but it will allow you to focus extremely close. Like I'm able to focus right here on this branch, and I have the waterfall in the background. I am not a bokeh background blur kind of guy, but you know, you do get a fair amount of background, especially if you shoot at 1.7. The lens can focus so close it's almost like touching. It's almost like touching the subject here. Really impressive stuff. And once again, they didn't have to do that, but they did, and we all appreciate it for that. Okay, so who would I recommend this lens for? So if you're someone who's looking for a nice compact travel lens that's weather sealed and you can throw it in any bag, take it in any weather, then the Panasonic 9mm is definitely the lens for you. If you already have a setup with a telephoto and a mid-range and you're looking for a nice wide angle, I think this is one of the best options to consider, especially at this price point. The people I wouldn't really recommend it to, you know, if you don't do a lot of wide angle action, if you're doing sports, wildlife, of course, not the lens for you. That's where you, of course, need a telephoto for that. All right, everyone, that's gonna wrap up today's video for the Panasonic 9mm f1.7 review. I absolutely love this lens. It's been an amazing addition to my bag, and I'm gonna continue taking it with me everywhere I go. They really did an excellent job with this lens, and if you're looking for a good wide angle for your micro four thirds camera, I think this is one of the best, especially for its size, its price, and its compactness. That's hard to beat. It's been an amazing day here at Wadsworth Falls. It's a perfect summer day. The waterfall is flowing beautifully. Of course, I hope to be back as the seasons change. I would love to come back and do some autumn photography here for you guys in the upcoming months, and hopefully just test out some new equipment, try it out here, and just bring you guys some great footage. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, consider subscribing. Once again, I want to thank you all for 2,000 subscribers. It's been an absolute treat to make videos for all of you. This is Waterfall Joe. Leave your comments below. What do you think of the 9mm 1.7? Thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day. Go chase some waterfalls.